We've all met that person, brilliant on paper, top of the class, quick with numbers, sharp in debates, but in real life, they crash in conversations, they struggle in relationships, and they can't handle failure. So, what's missing? If high IQ is supposed to mean success, why do some of the smartest people struggle the most? Welcome to a story about a different kind of intelligence, one that can't always be measured by test scores, but determines your everyday success in work, in love, in leadership, and in life. This is the story of emotional intelligence. Today we're diving into the science of EQ and discovering why how you feel may matter more than what you know. Let's rewind. For over a century, intelligence was viewed as fixed, innate, measurable. IQ tests, developed in the early 1900s, quickly became the gold standard. They told us who was gifted, who needed special help, and some claimed who would rise or fall in life. But something wasn't adding up. Researchers began noticing a strange pattern. People with average IQs were thriving, while many with high IQs were struggling. So psychologists began asking, is intelligence really just about logic and memory, or is something else at play? The answer? Absolutely. The term emotional intelligence first rose to prominence in 1990. It described a set of skills once overlooked: self-awareness, empathy, emotional regulation, social navigation. In simple terms, your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions and those of others. But why is that important? Because humans aren't logical machines. We're emotional creatures who think, not thinking creatures who feel. Imagine knowing every formula but panicking during the exam. Imagine having the best ideas but not knowing how to pitch them. Imagine being a genius but failing at teamwork. That's what emotional intelligence bridges. Let's break it down. Studies show people with high EQ are more successful at work, better leaders, less likely to experience anxiety or burnout, more satisfied in relationships. Why? Because they can read the room. They can calm themselves under stress. They can connect with others and inspire them. Neuroscience backs this up. Emotional intelligence activates the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, social behavior, and empathy. When EQ is high, people show more synchronized brain activity during conversations. In short, they're not just talking, they're connecting. Let's test your EQ. George was sad. An hour later, he felt guilty. What happened in between? A. George missed a doctor's appointment. B. George forgot to call his mom on her birthday. If you said B, you're thinking like someone with high emotional intelligence. This is a real psychological test, and these scenarios help reveal our ability to understand emotions in context. It's more than guessing feelings. It's about seeing the invisible threads of why we feel what we feel. And that's powerful. Are we born emotionally intelligent? Well, yes and no. Some people have a natural gift for empathy or emotional regulation. But studies show EQ can be taught, trained, and improved at any age. That's right. You can build emotional intelligence, like muscle, like skill, like resilience. And in schools across the world, programs now teach EQ just like math or science. Because being emotionally smart isn't just nice to have. It's the difference between conflict and connection, between managing emotions and being ruled by them. So, how do you build emotional intelligence? Here's your roadmap. 1. Name your emotions. If you can name it, you can tame it. 2. Pause before reacting. Learn to respond, not react. 3. Practice empathy daily. Ask, what might they be feeling? 4. Listen actively. Stop waiting to talk, start hearing. 5. Reflect on your triggers. Know what sets you off. Bonus tip: keep a daily emotion journal. You'll be shocked by how patterns emerge and clarity grows. Companies now assess EQ during hiring because it predicts something IQ can't: how you'll lead, collaborate, and cope, whether you're leading a team, handling customers, or just trying to stay sane under pressure. Your emotional intelligence matters. Studies show that 90% of top performers in any field score high in EQ. And the World Economic Forum ranks emotional intelligence as one of the top 10 job skills for the future. The takeaway? You can be the smartest in the room, but if you can't connect, you'll be left behind. Our brains are wired for connection. Social cognition, the ability to interpret and respond to others' emotions, evolved for survival. It helped us hunt, gather, lead, love. Today, it helps us navigate boardrooms, families, relationships, and more. The better you understand others, the better you understand yourself. It's not just about being nice, it's about survival in a modern world. Studies show that the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, responsible for empathy, is more active in individuals who lead communities, resolve conflicts, and form deeper bonds. In essence, empathy is leadership's superpower. Here's the twist. EQ is powerful, but like any power, it can be misused. People with high EQ can manipulate, they can deceive, they can emotionally exploit. From marketing to politics, emotional intelligence has a shadow side. A skilled con artist uses emotional cues to disarm suspicion. A toxic leader may use EQ not to connect, but to control. That's why emotional intelligence must be anchored in ethics. Empathy without compassion becomes a strategy. Charisma without integrity becomes manipulation. Knowledge isn't wisdom. Connection isn't compassion. Power isn't leadership. True emotional intelligence is measured not just by how well you understand emotions, but by how well you choose to use that understanding. Can machines learn emotional intelligence? It's the question tech giants are racing to answer. Artificial intelligence can now detect micro-expressions, analyze tone, and even mimic empathy. Customer service bots offer empathy scripts that sound human. But here's the difference. Machines can simulate emotion. They can't feel it. A computer might recognize your sadness, but can it care? Emotions aren't just patterns of data. They're the heartbeat of humanity. As we move into a world of AI, the one skill that will never be replaceable is emotional intelligence. Because machines may outperform us in logic, but they will never outshine us in feeling. Emotions don't happen in isolation. They ripple. They affect your memory, decision-making, even physical health. Take this. People with low EQ are more likely to suffer from chronic stress, poor sleep, and even heart conditions. Why? Because unprocessed emotion creates noise. It clutters the mind. It drains the body. But when you regulate emotion, when you listen instead of react, when you name your feelings instead of numbing them, you create space. Space for clarity. Space for connection. Space for change. EQ is not just a social skill. It's a wellness skill. And every emotional breakthrough creates a feedback loop. Feel better, think better, do better, feel better. Let's make this real. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. He emerged not with vengeance, but with vision. His ability to manage his own emotions and empathize with his enemies unified a nation. That's EQ. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, transformed the company not by technical innovation alone, but by fostering empathy among his teams. He said, "Empathy makes you a better innovator." Brené Brown, researcher and storyteller, brought vulnerability into the spotlight. She taught millions that emotional honesty is strength, not weakness. These leaders didn't rise because they were the smartest in the room. They rose because they were emotionally aware, vulnerable, connected. And you can be that leader too. There's a growing challenge to emotional intelligence: social media. It rewards outrage over understanding. It thrives on reaction, not reflection. But here's the opportunity. Social media can also be a training ground for EQ if we use it consciously. Before you comment, pause. Before you post, reflect. Ask, is this adding value or just noise? EQ online means practicing restraint in a world that pushes for reaction. It means showing empathy in comment sections. It means listening in a space designed to speak. Imagine if we taught emotional intelligence in schools the same way we teach math. Some schools are doing just that. Programs in the US, Finland, and India are integrating SEL, social and emotional learning, into core curricula. Children learn how to identify emotions, how to resolve conflict, how to practice empathy, how to build resilience, and the results: improved academic performance, reduced bullying, better mental health. Because when a child knows how to name their emotions, they can own them. And that skill stays for life. Here's the good news. Emotional intelligence can be rewired. Studies in neuroplasticity show that with regular reflection, mindfulness, and feedback, your brain literally changes. The amygdala, your emotional alarm system, becomes less reactive. The prefrontal cortex, your decision-making center, becomes stronger. It's like upgrading your brain's operating system. It takes time. It takes awareness. But it works. Imagine a world where emotional intelligence is the norm, where empathy is taught as early as the alphabet, where leaders are chosen for compassion, not charisma, where connection matters more than competition. That world isn't fantasy. It's a choice. You build it one conversation at a time, one pause before reacting, one apology, one deeper listen. The ripple starts with you. So, here's your challenge. Today, choose to lead with empathy. Choose to reflect before reacting. Choose to understand before judging. You don't need a psychology degree. You just need the courage to feel. Because emotional intelligence isn't just for leaders. It's for parents, friends, creators, dreamers, you. Make it your personal philosophy. You are not your IQ. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the choices you make today. And those choices build the kind of future you deserve. You can be the smartest in the room, but it's the one who connects, who understands, who heals. That changes the world. Choose to be that person. If this episode moved your mind or stirred your soul, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Leave a comment below. What's one emotion you've struggled to manage? And what's one strategy you'll try today? This is Bright Discovery, where curiosity meets transformation. Until next time, stay wise, stay kind, and keep discovering.